This video is about all of my road gear that I use for any road gigs, theater, accompanying anything else. And it starts with my keyboard. So this is a Yamaha P255 stage piano, 88 keys. I bought this as just a stage piano. It was before I did a whole lot of theater gigs, and it was before I realized that I wanted a bit more functionality than a standard stage piano. But it is really, really good. It's a great piano. And it's a Yamaha, so you know everything is legit on this piano. It's got kind of the best internal sounds that you could buy for $1,300. And the keys are just a dream. They play so nice. They feel really nice. But I think, you know, if I was to get more functionality, if I was to get a keyboard with a bit more kind of utility for theater gigs, I probably would want something with mod wheel pitch bend. And this stage piano also, it only has one single sustain pedal port. I would want something with more assignable pedal ports for expression and whatnot. But I've kind of solved that problem with some hardware. More on that in a bit. So when I'm playing through Mainstage, the next piece here is I have this MIDI cable right here going from the MIDI out port on the back of my keyboard into my dusty USB interface. So this is a Focusrite Scarlett 6i6. It is Scarlett because it's USB 2.0, and it's 6i6 because it has 6 in, 6 out. The ins are these two combo 1/4 inch XLR inputs. There's two 1/4 inch inputs on the back. There's a MIDI input on the back, which I'm using right now, and there's an RCA input for a total of 6. And then there are 6 outs, so 4 1/4 inch, a MIDI out, and then an RCA out. And then it actually has these two individually controllable headphone outs. So it's really 6i8, but it's called a 6i6, and we'll deal with that. And that goes USB 2.0 with this printer cable looking thing, this red one, into my MacBook Pro. So this is a brand new MacBook Pro, 2.3 Core i5. It's not the most powerful processor that exists, but it's certainly good enough. And I had this configured with 16 gigs of RAM, as you can see. So it's pretty darn powerful. I'm running Mainstage 3, and actually, I'm gonna do 6i6. And let's see. So this is a 2017 13-inch MacBook Pro without the touch bar. As you can see, I didn't really want the touch bar. I've used it. They're not super functional, at least not for what I do. So I decided to save, I don't know, 100, 200 bucks and not get the touch bar. The only problem with these new MacBook Pros is that they don't have any USB ports, or they're the brand new USB-C style. So if I have any interest in plugging a peripherals in, like my interface, then I need a hub. So here's my hub. It has 5 USB 3.0 ports that are backwards compatible to 2.0 that are connected USB-C into my MacBook Pro. And one convenient thing about this hub is that I'm actually charging my MacBook Pro through this pass-through USB-C port, which is kind of cool. And so once signal leaves Mainstage, it goes back into my USB interface, and then I play through this Behringer amplifier. It's not the best but it certainly gets the job done. For the theater gigs that I've done, I usually just have it sitting right beside me, just loud enough so that I can hear, and then we use one of the outputs to go into the house, so it's really just for me. So, I forgot to mention, the sustain pedal that came with this Yamaha is brilliant. It's heavy as hell, and I love it. It's great. So anyway, when one of the templates that I use on Mainstage is this thing. It's called Sunday Keys. It's actually made by a company called Sunday Sounds, and the gentleman that programs, I don't know if he does all the program, but he's certainly the public face of the company. His name is David Faltzgraff, and it's a really brilliant template. It has a lot of stuff that I need for church stuff. But one of the cool things about this whole thing is that the whole template that David Faltzgraff made is kind of built on top of this controller right here. There's a Korg Nano Control 2. And it gives me the ability to have some hardware, the ability to control what's happening on my screen without having to use the trackpad or reach my hand up to the laptop. Using these faders, knobs, and buttons, it allows me to, with this, it just gives me the ability to kind of touch the template without having to use the trackpad at all. So each one of these, like I said, each one of these sliders, knobs, buttons, each one is mapped to one of these that controls the layers of sounds and effects. It's just a lot better to do it by feel using an actual piece of hardware rather than having to reach up to use the trackpad. Helps keep the whole thing a little bit cleaner. I have that connected to the hub. It's this mini or micro USB, I'm not really sure, and it goes to the 2.0 USB. So that actually helps me kind of expand a little bit of hardware functionality that's missing on this stage piano and make it into something more robust. And the last piece that I have attached to this whole rig is this thing right here. So this is the
Line 6.
Birkenstock footprints all over. This is the
Line 6.
FBV Express MK2. So this thing is actually, it was designed to plug into a Line 6 amplifier. There's actually an Ethernet port on the back of this, and it comes with this Ethernet cable that's meant to attach to a Line 6 amplifier and control some of the functionality of the amp itself. But somebody figured out that if you use the USB port on the back of this and connect it to a computer, you can use any of these pedals to do anything in Mainstage, and probably Logic and Ableton and whatever the hell else. And this foot pedal can be used for any kind of expression functionality that you want. It was really easy to set up. There's a piece of desktop software that you just fire up and you know, you can get it so that each one of these pedals is either a press and release or just a single press. And I actually used that software to make it so that the foot pedal was sending mod wheel data, so that when I use it, I mean, I can assign it for volume or any other expression, but when I assign it, basically it functions as what a mod wheel would do in whatever application. So I have that connected also to the hub via this USB 2.0 right here. So that's it. I forgot to mention, by the way, that this the interface is actually powered. It is not bus powered. It is actually powered. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I know some of the smaller Focusrite interfaces, like the 2i2, I think, they're just bus powered. So you plug it in USB and it powers up. This one actually needs its own legit electricity source. But that's it. That's my rig. Oh, you know what else I use the line 6 for is I use these two pedals right here. I use them for patch forward, patch backwards. I decided that I needed something like that after I went to a theater performance and the guy was using Mainstage and he was using foot pedals to change patches, and I said, oh, I definitely need that. So that's it. Yamaha P255, which on its own is great, but I use it for Mainstage mostly. 2017 MacBook Pro, Focusrite Scarlett 6i6 hub, Korg Nano Control 2, Line 6, FBV, Express MK2, and this piece of junk Behringer amp. This is my rig. It's a lot to carry around. I actually keep most of this stuff in a road case when I'm going from place to place, so it takes up a lot of space.